So the purpose of the Fraser River Historical Cruise is to take a look at the history of the Fraser River. This year we're going up towards North Delta, and so we will be looking especially at the history of the Tilbury, Sunbury, and Annieville area. And then we go around Annacis Island and come back up. We look at the history from the perspective of the river. You get a very different view than you do from the land. And there are things that you can see that you might not be able to see on land, and it's also a very different way of looking at the history. As I said, the river itself had a huge impact on the way that the land itself was shaped. I mean, the delta itself was formed from the river. So there's a deep history with the river, and it also had a very large impact in terms of both the way that the town developed around the farming and fishing heritage, and how the town itself was shaped because also the river was a main transportation route. So before there were roads, how did you get around? Well, it was the river, right? So looking at the history of Delta is very connected with the river. So looking at being on the river, you get a greater sense of that, I think, that connection. And so that's why I find it very powerful to be out on the river.
I like seeing the herons and that kind of thing too, the wildlife. But it's just interesting to see even the float homes, the boats, everything, and the stuff on the land from the river. It's just a whole different perspective. You get a really, as we were just saying, it makes much more sense about how the places grew up because they grew up around the river. So like when you see them nowadays, it may not make sense where they are for the roads, but when everybody was traveling by river, it makes complete sense that they grew up the way they did and around the farms and stuff.
Donate the boat for the fundraiser for the museum for twice a year, usually a weekend, and it's been going on now for 10 or 12 years. I just traveled the rivers and been around the rivers for about 35 years now, and I enjoy it.